Before former judge Casey Moreland was sentenced to prison last year on corruption charges, he gave a two-day interview to the FBI. His own attorney confirmed it.
One of the topics, according to this court record from U.S. attorneys, how Moreland went to Costa Rica with friends and unnamed, quote, attendees, hired local prostitutes, and sometimes smoked pot. But the I-Team's Nancy Amons uncovered the travel records.
Now, those records show who else from the Nashville courts was in the country at the same time as Moreland.
Well, these records show that when former Judge Moreland was in Costa Rica, so were attorneys in his court, as well as some fellow Nashville judges. Not just this judge.
I don't do interviews with media.
But also this judge.
I don't have anything to say about that.
And this attorney. All had the same reaction to questions from the News 4 I-Team.
No comment.
We've been asking about trips to Costa Rica. That's because of what's in these sentencing documents. Take a look. They say former Judge Casey Moreland admitted taking trips out of the country with Nashville attorneys and judges. Prosecutors say attendees hired local prostitutes and smoked pot, though the records do not identify which attendees engaged in that conduct. We know fishing was part of the trips. This is one of the videos taken at the time. But what about those salacious claims by prosecutors, who went on to say attendees possessed compromising information on Moreland as he did on them? But Moreland allowed attorneys to continue practicing before him. You may have seen these pictures from 2013. That's Moreland and his friend Brian Lewis, an attorney in Costa Rica. The News 4 I-Team obtained these records from the Costa Rican government. They show Moreland and Lewis were in Costa Rica at the same time on 7 dates since 2012. On 2 of those trips, other judges were also in Costa Rica.
You have an attorney?
In 2013, General Sessions Judge Aaron Holt. Watch what happens when we wanted to ask him what he saw.
We can have a minute with you in your office after the doctor.
No, I've got to go somewhere. What do you want to talk about?
Costa Rica.
These records show Holt was in Costa Rica at the same time as Lewis and Moreland in January 2013.
I don't have anything to say about that. Thank you.
And there was a third judge.
All right.
Criminal court judge Monty Watkins. In fact, these records from the Costa Rican government show Watkins went on 2 trips, one in 2013 and one in 2016. We wanted to ask him the same questions.
No, I don't do interviews with media. All right.
Court will be in a brief recess.
Neither Judge Holt nor Watkins would agree to a follow-up request for an interview. But just this afternoon, Judge Watkins released this to the I-Team, quote, I am aware that my behavior is held to the highest scrutiny. As a result, I conduct myself accordingly. I have not engaged in any wrongful or illegal activities.
Hi, Brian.
Attorney Brian Lewis, remember he was Casey Moreland's friend? Costa Rican government records show he was in Costa Rica for all 7 trips.
I can't comment about anything, Nancy.
Federal prosecutors said these trips, quote, helped foster an atmosphere of cronyism and favoritism in Moreland's court, a potential ethical violation mentioned in the federal sentencing documents. So how often were judges and lawyers in Costa Rica together, also in the same courtroom? I reviewed thousands of court cases involving judges and defense attorneys listed in the Costa Rican travel documents. Court records show attorney Brian Lewis represented at least 42 clients in front of the 3 judges he took trips with. This is defense attorney Sean McKinney. Records show he was in Costa Rica on 4 of the Costa Rican trips, including 2 that overlapped with the times Judge Watkins was there. The I-Team went through 6 years of court records and found McKinney represented more than 90 defendants in Judge Watkins' court. Defense attorneys weren't the only ones with judges in Costa Rica. On one trip, a prosecutor from the district attorney's office went, Ben Ford. Remember that fishing trip we showed you earlier from 2016? That's Assistant DA Ford.
Don't let up, man.
At the time, Ford was assigned to prosecute defendants in Casey Moreland's court. Just this afternoon, the DA's office confirmed that once Glenn Funk learned of the trip, he disciplined Ford and docked him more than $12,000 in pay. Now, we can't independently confirm what did or didn't happen in Costa Rica. Exactly what Moreland told the FBI about the trips isn't public record, and the U.S. Attorney's Office won't comment besides what's in the court file. Now, there are two boards in Tennessee that have the power to discipline lawyers and judges, but their investigations are secret unless they take official action like issuing a reprimand. Nancy Amons for the News 4i team.